great would it be if you were like, I want to make $100,000 by the end of the year, but I did it in June? Hi, everyone. It is Tina with Picture It Personal Finance, where I help small business owners get their money life in order so that they continue to run a business that is enjoyable to them and thriving. I want to elaborate on something I mentioned in a prior video. In my video about 2023 goal setting, I talked just briefly about setting revenue goals and employing the good, better, best model. I want to tell a little bit more about what my experience was with setting a very big goal for 2022 and how in the end it kind of demoralized me, and it took me a while to realize that I was better served to set a smaller goal, but not wanting to leave out the possibility for hitting the large goal. I ended up creating a system of stretch goals that was brought to my attention by somebody at the Financial Coach Academy. So this is something that they had taught in their mastermind, and I really appreciated this lesson because I was coached on it, and it helped me see that I was treating myself like a failure even though I was having tremendous growth. And I feel this is a common problem. So what exactly happened? Well, when I started my business, I had decided that I was going to set a goal of $23,000 for my first full year in business, which I hit, and I kind of set that goal very willy-nilly. I mean, to be honest, I set it in the way of like, I just said I'm going to make $23,000, but I had no idea how to do it. So that video that I shared about setting 2023 revenue goals and really using what your services are and setting annual goals of how many of each you need to sell, I learned that because I absolutely didn't do that my first year. And I honestly, I hit 25,000 in 2021, but it was by the grace of God, to be perfectly honest with you, because I did not walk into that with any sense of strategy or clarity as to what I was doing. I was 100% winging it, which all of us do in the beginning. So I'm not saying that to beat anybody up. If that's you right now, recognize that this is the path how we all start, and then we gain clarity as we go. So I knew that that's what I made in 2021. And I spoke with a coach I was working with at the time. And this person said to me, well, what is your goal for 2022? And I said, well, my original goal when I left corporate was to make $46,000 by the end of my second year in business. This is what I had decided I was going to do before I even left my corporate job. Then I thought, well, wouldn't it be great if I at least doubled what I made last year, which would be $50,000? So I said, I'm going to set my goal as $50,000. And then he was like, why? Why would you sell yourself short? He's like, 50,000 seems extremely realistic for you. Why not double that? Why not have this like tremendously amazing, huge goal and work toward that? And I think his rationale was, if you shoot for the moon, you'll land in the stars. I know you guys have all heard that saying. So I was like, oh my gosh, you're so right. I should do that. And I did. I set that as my goal, and I absolutely did the whole reverse engineering thing and figured out how I could make $100,000. Now, what I neglected to think about was that in order to sell the number of offers that I needed to sell, there was a lot more that needed to happen. Like there was a lot of funnels and lead generators that needed to be created that I did not have because I hadn't yet learned how to do any of that stuff. So I had a really magnificent goal that I believed was possible, but it wasn't happening. It wasn't unfolding. And so as I got to the end of Q1, and by then, if I was going to make $100,000, I would have needed to have $25,000 already in revenue. I think I was sitting at like $12,000 in revenue. And I started to be like, it's just not going to happen. I'm not going to make it. Oh my gosh. And then the year progressed, and I ended up having this big realization that many of my marketing efforts by going to networking events were not paying off. I have a video on that I'll link for you guys. And then I was truly demoralized. I have to be candid. I thought, I'm never going to hit this goal. I'm so mad at myself. I'm such a failure. And I went down sort of a toxic rabbit hole. Like I really kind of dumped on myself for probably about a month and a half. And then I was coached. And my coach was like, okay, this was in the mastermind. And we're like, why do you think of this as a failure? Number one, this isn't a failure. You should all entrepreneurialism is just learning quickly from mistakes. Don't look at them like failures, look at them as lessons. If I felt like I made a 9-month mistake, look at it as like a 9-month lesson. What is the value I got out of that 9-month lesson? Dust yourself off, get up, and try again. And so that's what I ended up doing. But the other thing they said to me in that time was, well, what is your good, better, best goals? Like, how are you setting them up? And I realized that all I had was the best goal. I had the 100,000 best goal. I had the stretch goal, and that was it. And a person in that group, and now that I think about it, it wasn't the actual coach in the group, it was another participant in the mastermind, said, I always feel like the stretch goal gives me anger and angst because I get mad at myself for not hitting it. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's me. That's what I'm going through. And so I decided in that moment, you know what? I'm going to go back to my original goals. I'm going to go back to my very first goal for my second year in business, which was 46,000. That's going to be my good goal. And my better goal is going to be doubling what I made the year prior, which would have put me at 50-ish thousand, maybe a little bit more than 50,000. And then my best goal, I was just going to leave at 100,000. And I know that seems a little bit silly having a good goal and a better goal that are only a few thousand apart, but rationally it worked for me. I could define them in clear ways. The good goal was the goal I set before I even left corporate. The better goal was doubling what I made the year prior. And the best goal was this like pie in the sky vision for what I knew was possible, but I didn't yet know how to achieve it. It kind of freaked me out. And I loved that. And I hope that what I'm ultimately relaying to you guys is that if you are like me and those stretch goals make you feel, they demoralize you or they make you start to feel down on yourself that you're not achieving them, switch to the good, better, best model, because then you can hit the goal and feel like everything's gravy on top of that, which is just so much more confident building. Like, it just makes you feel better. And when you feel good about your business, you do better in your business. It's like, if you have a good day, you're going to feel better about your day. It's just that simple. And I want everyone to feel good about their business. This is why we talk about, in my prior video, I spoke about the obstacle is the way. Well, the thing that's making you feel bad, work through it so that you can get to the other side, experience the relief, and feel better about your business. That's what I want you to do. That's what I'm actively doing right now. And I hope so much in this channel that these stories that I'm giving to you are demonstrating the larger lessons that I'm learning so that we can learn together, because I would love for you guys to be able to shortcut from the mistakes that I'm making and get there all the more quickly. Okay, so a point of note about the good, better, best model. I tend to do it from the standpoint of like, well, I want to make, like if I look at my 2023 goals, my good goal for 2023 is 92,000. My better goal is going to be 110,000, and my best goal is going to be 150,000. I am setting up ways of achieving those. I'm going through my revenue planning to figure out how can I achieve those goals with the offers I plan to ask in the coming year. Now, that's how I'm doing it. Another way that people like to do it is they like to say, I don't want to have multiple revenue goals. I don't want to figure out how much I need to sell of each service for each, revenue target. So what they do instead is they say, I'm going to have a goal of making $100,000. My good is going to be if I can hit it by the end of the year. So December 31, I have $100,000 made. My better is if I can hit it by the end of September. So by 9/30, I have $100,000 made. And my best is if I make that by June. And then I have June 30th, $100,000 made. And you get the idea. You can play with the dates. It doesn't have to be those exact dates. But some people like to do it that way better because then it's very concrete. It's like, listen, I am going to make $100,000. I don't care how long it takes. It is inevitable. I am going to make that money. And if I can do it by this date, man, that would be like, wowzas, blow my socks off, amazing. And if I can do it by this date, well, you know what? That would be great. I mean, that would be gravy. That's going to be faster than I thought. But if I can do it by this date, in other words, this date, I know I absolutely can do it by. I know. And point of note, maybe if you like that frame of thinking, you say, I'm going to make $100,000 in my business, but maybe the goal isn't even December 31, 2023. Maybe the goal is December 31, 2024. Maybe you say, I'm new at business and I'm going to make $100,000 in this business. And it might not be this coming year, but for sure within 2 years, I can make $100,000. Think about it, guys. There's so many ways to tackle this. And I think that just by setting those goals and putting them to paper, whether that's an electronic piece of paper or if you're like me, got me another Erin Condren planner because you know I love those. And I put that in there. I have my goals listed in there. And I do the 3 revenue models because I look at it like I want to make one of those 3 by the end of the year. But frankly, how great would it be if you were like, I want to make $100,000 by the end of the year, but I did it in June? It would just be fantastic. Anyway, guys, I will leave it at that. Good, better, best modeling. Tell me, what are your goals for 2023? How are you setting them up? And will you use the good, better, best approach? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.